Hello, Val from Victory Stitches, and I hope this works out okay because my phone camera seems to work better when it's facing the other way, with the screen facing the other way, so I can't actually see anything I'm doing. I just see the back of my phone. So these here are pillows I love to make. They're little English paper piece taxi pillows, quite simple. And in the back, if it wants to stay, I like to put a zipper in. And the zipper is also lined as well. So open it up and take a look. You get a nice lined back there. And it's an easy way to finish off a pillow, and I do get asked about it. So I'm finally getting around to doing a tutorial for it. So hopefully this all works out and ready to sew. So put that guy aside. Okay, what do you need? Obviously your sewing machine. You need your front piece. You need what you're going to use for your backing. You're going to need your lining. And you're going to need a zipper. This here is a, what is this? This is a 15-inch zipper, which we will be putting tabs onto. Okay. My front piece is around 15 by 15 inches or so. This here is not quite a 1 yard piece, but basically your backing has to be at least the size of your front piece. So as long as it's that big, you're okay, because the zipper is going to actually make a little bit more room. It's going to go in there. So to a degree. But anyway, it's around the same size. Don't go any smaller, but at least go at least an inch around would be good. Okay, because you're going to need some room to turn the edges over, which I will show you. For the lining, now the front gets lined and the back gets lined. So what I like to do is at least 2 fat quarters, or you can do half a yard, and it just has to be plain fabric because it's going in the inside anyways. So you don't have to worry about having it look, you know, overly nice. So I just usually just use like a cream background, and you just need your rulers, your cutting board, your little thingy, and a zipper foot if you have one, and we're all good to go. So if you were English paper piecing this, I will show this bit here. So you remove all your papers. Okay, so I've taken all my papers out. They would have been in all these little pockets, and I have ironed them all as if the papers were in. So all your edges are sort of ironed inwards as much as you can, and all these little flaps are down. So you get a really nice, which way is this gonna go? This way. Looks like my little fussy cuts go this way. So so it's all nice and flat, okay? And you got some nice edges to work with. That's the easiest way. Now, do remember when you do, if you are doing English paper piecing goes right to the edge of your project. If this was sewn, a sewn piece, you normally have a 1/4 inch around, and when you sew background on, you know, you end up with a really nice piece where all your edges will be at that 1/4 inch mark. English paper piecing doesn't do that unless you add that onto your pieces or add an extra strip onto the end or something. So these pillows here, this very edge bit here will be taken up by the sewing machine and by the backing. Okay, so that will disappear. That's your 1/4 inch. All right, handy tip to know. All right, so first we are going to cut, let's see here. I wing it, by the way. I don't measure anything. So I'm going to measure the front of that first. So open up your 1 yard bit. Lay your backing on there. Okay, so the backing for the front piece is going to be exactly the same size as the front piece. So basically you just want to cut a size this big. Okay. So just note for this video, my window is open in case you hear any outside noises, and we do have 2 dogs in case they come wandering. They're currently downstairs, probably sleeping. Let's trim this guy to the exact same size. you get these little tabs in English paper piecing sometimes that stick out. You can actually just chop those little tabs off. Just make sure you're not cutting into any stitching anywhere. Okay, and it doesn't have to be exact, but as close as you can. As close as you can get it. Okay, there we go. So now you have the backing. That's done. Stick it aside. I've put my ironing board here. It's usually over there. Not that you can really see me iron, but at least then I don't have to constantly leave the screen. So, the back. We need two things. Okay, so first we'll cut the back and then we'll cut the zipper. So for the back piece, we're gonna need the front piece back again. Okay, this is half the fun of winging things. Okay, lay that out. Grab your front piece, dip it here. All right. Lay it down. Now you want it to be pretty much the same size, and there's two things you got to think about. One, when you make the zipper is about 1 inch wide. Yeah, so that's 1 inch wide. Okay, so that's going to take up 1 inch. And the way I do zippers, you want an extra 1/4 inch along the side that you're going to be sewing onto here, because I fold that over to make a nice neat edge. So I generally cut bigger and chop afterwards. That way you can make less mistakes. So for this guy here, I'm going to add about 1 inch and cut about 1 inch below this. That gives me about 1/2 inch worth of working room. Probably a little bit bigger if you'd like. You can use a fat quarter for the back, so if you have a fat quarter, you can use that. The sides are going to be pretty much exact, so you don't have to overcut on the sides. There we go. Okay, scrap. Okay, now, next thing is, you're going to decide where you want to put your zipper. I like to put my zipper about there. I find when you put a pillow in, it's easier to go down and then tuck the top bit up and do the zipper up. You can put it anywhere that you want. So I'm going to put it where I normally put it. So it's about here. If this is on a line here, let's just put on some lines on my mat. All right, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. About 4. Let's see if we cut 4.5 inches there. Maybe leave a little bit of room. There we go. Okay. So that's up a little bit here. That'll compensate for here. I'll show you that in a minute. All right, put that back on your line. All right. All right, so say if I want to stick my zipper there. It's going to be, we'll cut it at the here. So that's 1, 2, 3, roughly at the 4-inch line here. So it'll be 4.5 inches that we're going to cut this back piece, and the rest of it we'll just leave as is. Okay, so we'll just cut it on my mat here. It's saying on the 13th line, so we'll just cut on the 13th line. So take that away. Find my 13th line and chop. Okay, so this is going to be the top, this is going to be the bottom. Zip goes in there. We're going to recreate this with the backing fabric exactly as it is, so it's pretty simple to do. So I'll stick that guy down, lay him down. Lay him like that. Okay. Okay, those ones are all cut. There's a fold here from where the fabric was folded, and I'm just going to chop that off because I'm not going to bother ironing it for this. I mean, normally I would, but that just takes more time. So, that piece is done. That piece is done. Get this edge done. Okay, there's all those done. Okay, got 2 back pieces for the top and for the bottom bit of the zipper. Okay, take some matching. I'm using the purple polka dots, and I had this little strip of purple polka dots. We are going to make a tab on here. Okay, it'll make it easier to sew the sides, and it looks a lot nicer. So a tab basically is going to be the same width as that, which is roughly 1 inch. Exactly 1 inch. Yes, it's exactly 1 inch. Nice. So cut 2 fabric strips that are 1 inch. Like that. Okay. And you're going to fold them in half. And give them a bit of a press with your fingers. Okay. Like that. This here is going to be your sewing line. And what you're going to do is lay down your zipper. Do not sew on this big metal bit, okay? Because that's just going to destroy your needle. Move it up a little bit from there, put it on there, and you're going to sew a line down there. Grab some pins. Okay, so I'll just pin that in place so I know where I'm sewing. And for this one, it has to be opened. And you want to make sure that this is nice and closed when you sew it on there. So that can be a bit tricky. This is my home ec teacher, Mrs. Mackey, taught us to do this in grade 6, and I have always remembered it. She was an amazing teacher. Okay, make 2 crisscrosses, one at the top with some pins. Just go in and out like that. Okay, and then come in from the other side like that, and squeeze those 2 balls together. There you go. So that keeps that together, and then do it a bit of a ways up because you need to have some sewing room. So repeat the whole process here. There we go. Squish those together, and now it's going to stay relatively closed. Okay. Put that across where you want it. Again, usually zippers have some metal bits here. Do not sew the metal bits. You can sew close enough to it though. You don't have to pin it. You can actually just take it to the sewing machine, but there we go. Now to sew. This is just using your regular foot. I always use an open toe foot, and I actually change my needle position back and forth to get my 1/4 inch instead of using a 1/4 inch foot. It's lazy, but I do that. Okay, so that guy down. So making sure you kind of hold those bits together, make sure that they're nice. There we go. So slowly, so when you go across the zipper, you know, it's okay. So anyway, there, that's what it looks like. Okay, that's that side. And we will do this side. Go slowly over the zipper part. Make sure you don't break your needle. If this was a metal needle, be very cautious and actually hand crank it. Okay, take all your pins out. Okay. And what you have is some nice little tabs. Looks quite pretty. Ah, okay. Gives you extra room on the ends. Now, you can go in and chop some of these off. I tend to leave them unless they're going to be in the way. So how this is going to work. What it'll end up looking like backwards is that, okay? And frontwards is going to end up looking like that. Okay, so we'll work on the backs first. So take your top pieces off. Well, actually we can do this all at once because I got to turn the iron on anyways. Okay, so how I do zippers, you can do them blind, but I like to do it where I can see it. It's actually from a Cath Kidston book, and it makes really good sense to my brain, so that's what I use. So these edges here, and here, and here, and here, you're going to turn over 1/4 of an inch, okay, and iron it. All right, now the backs can be reversible because they're just a plain fabric, but you want to be able, you want to turn your 1/4 inch fold over away from your good side, okay? You want it to be on the bad, on the bad side, on the wrong side, okay? Because your front side needs to look good, okay? So take those over here and turn all those under. Those ones are done. Done. Okay. We're going to do the lining first, so put your other pieces aside. Okay, we are going to change out the feet and put in a zipper foot. Okay. Line these up the way, so I want my zipper to be like this. The good side is going to be on the bottom. Okay, this is going to be the side you're not going to see. It's going to be encased in the zipper. There we go. And it's going to sit like that. Okay, the same. This one here is going to go like that. And it's going to sit under the zipper like that. Okay. I like to lay it out like this just because my dyslexia, things going back and forth and flipping around can be kind of confusing. So I'm just going to lay it like that. Flip the whole thing over. All right, so this is what I'm going to be sewing. Look at where all your stuff is here. Okay, you're not going to be using all this tab room, okay? So just keep that in mind. Okay, you can pin it if you want. Actually, I'll just pin the start just so I know where it's sitting. Okay. Now we're going to sew this here away from, okay, so if the zipper was open, you want to sew it roughly along here, okay? Don't sew it way down here, okay, because this will all be flappy and open. You want it to sew around somewhere in there, okay? All the way down. Move your zipper back and forth as you need to. can play with your machine to find out where you like to put things, what sort of eye guides you need when sewing. You need to move your zipper out of the way, lift your foot up, move the zipper out of the way, and then continue. Okay, so what it looks like from what's going to be the good side. You can see how that's tucked in there. And that's what the inside of your pillow is going to look like. It's all nice and flat. So, sew this onto the other side. Match up where you did these. You can probably trim these at this point. Actually, let's trim those. Always easier to trim than to add. It's virtually impossible to add, so always go a bit bigger. Yep, okay, I like that. All right. Lay that on there so that the good side is facing up, and we'll sew that. Okay, all sewn on. Now we're going to repeat the process with the good sides. So the good side is going to lay on the good side of the zipper. This is going to be the zipper facing up, and it's going to lie right here. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing. Now I'm just going to change thread because this is purple and I have white in there. Try to match. Here's your top stitching here, so you kind of want to match it, make it all look nice. It will be seen. Alright, there we go. Okay, so lay that on there. Go to your machine and sew again close to that line. As close to the zipper. You don't want to be on top of the zipper, but you also want to hide the stitching you just did with the white as well. And actually I want to come in from this angle, not that angle. There we go, that's better. You can change your zipper foot around, flip it each way if you want. I try to keep it on there one way and flip my project over instead. Okay. Come on, Zippy. All nice and pretty. The rogue thread. Okay. So, can you see that? Nice and sewn on. And now we're just going to do the other one at the bottom here. Lay lay it on top and sew down. There we go. Done with the zipper flip. Okay, I'll leave the thread for now. So there we have it. Our two pieces are put together. And now all we gotta do is put the pillow together now. So I'm just gonna trim any little bits that are sticking out of the backing. So I'm gonna trim that off, and I'll trim that off. Zipper up so everything lays nice and flat. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. There we go. Our back is complete. I'm just going to change thread in here really quick. All right, we're ready to go. Okay, we are going to lay our front backing down first. Okay. Actually, yeah, we'll do this first. I usually flip it around in the end, but anyways. And that is going to go like that. Your front is going to be facing right side up on top. Okay, so when sewn together, that will be one piece. Now your zipper is going to go wrong side down with your top facing up. So this here is considered my top. That's going to be my bottom, so we're just going to go like this. Get it all on there. That. Get rid of all your little stray threads. Chop these guys off. There we go. Okay. There we go. Almost pillow time. Just gonna flip it over so I can make sure. There you go. And you will have some excess usually at the bottom from your back zipper bit, so you can just chop that off or sew around it and chop it after. I do use pins at this stage because I do want everything to be nicely all put together. I also like to see my top piece when I'm sewing so I know where my edges are. I don't quilt these two pieces together. You can also put in a piece of batting in between those and quilt those before you do this part, if you would like. And I have forgot one crucial thing, which I will have to do in a second, which is open the zipper, because if you don't open the zipper, it's going to be a nightmare to try and flip this thing, because you're going to be flipping it through the zipper. So let's just pin first and then I'll go back and open the zipper. Okay, where's my zipper opening? There we go. That's better. No matter how many times you do this, I almost always forget that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is sew a 1/4 inch, or I mean, because these layers can vary a little bit, I actually just like to use the standard whatever on my machine, so it's just more than just a little bit of a 1/4 inch, and so literally all the way around the entire thing. I also like to use white or cream for my background because then I can, it's slightly transparent, so you can actually see where your front piece is. So if there's any edges that are slightly wonky, you can try and sew on the good piece edge and not just the back. Almost done. Hooray! Now, check it. Okay, flip it around, make sure you've actually caught edges everywhere. Before you trim anything or neaten up these edges, make sure that you flip it. So make sure your corners don't have holes. Run your fingers along all the seams. Make sure there's no holes. Okay, look where the zipper is. Make sure that looks nice. Keep going. Okay. So far, so good. Yep, corner looks good, side looks good. Okay, so essentially, you're done. Now, I like to take my serger and go around the inside edges to clean them all up. You could also zigzag them if you don't have a serger, but basically, here's your pillow. So there's your front. There's your back with a zipper. If you wanted to add a little custom tag, you could have added it here when you're doing the stitching for the zipper and have it sticking out. Or you can have it off the side, whatever you would like. So I won't get my serger out on camera because it's over there and it'll be a pain in the butt. But what you would do to tidy up these edges. Okay. So you can trim them so they all look nice, and then basically zigzag, a nice big zigzag all along here, or just take your serger and, I mean, if you have a serger, you know what you're gonna do. And trim this extra bit at the end as you go. And voila, you have a beautiful zipper backed pillow that you can make any size that you want. You just play with it. Remember, always go larger. That way you can chop down. And there you go. Yay, done. Hopefully this worked out. Hopefully you can actually see what I did, and hopefully it's not too muddled. Alrighty. Happy sewing.